Anthony Hopkins, an Alabama pastor, was convicted in 2010 for the horrific murder of his wife, Arletha Hopkins, whose body he kept hidden in a freezer for over 3 years. Hopkins, who claimed to be a preacher and evangelist, maintained a facade of religious leadership while concealing the gruesome crime. The truth emerged when one of Hopkins' children bravely came forward, revealing that her father had sexually abused her and that her mother had been murdered after confronting him about the abuse. Investigators discovered Arletha's frozen body in the family home, which Hopkins had shared with his 8 children. His case shocked the community as they learned of the abuse and manipulation he had inflicted on his family while preaching righteousness to others. In 2010, Hopkins was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole, exposing the deep evil behind his facade as a man of God. Arthur B. Schirmer, a former Pennsylvania pastor, was convicted of killing his second wife, Betty Jean Schirmer, in 2008 and later implicated in the death of his first wife, Jules Schirmer, in 1999. Initially, Betty Jean's death was deemed a tragic car accident, as Arthur claimed she died from injuries sustained when he swerved to avoid a deer. However, further investigation revealed inconsistencies in his story, leading police to reopen the case. Investigators found that Betty Jean's injuries were inconsistent with a car crash and that Schirmer had bludgeoned her to death before staging the accident. This discovery prompted authorities to reinvestigate Jules Schirmer's mysterious death, which was initially ruled accidental after she allegedly fell down the stairs. The case against Schirmer highlighted his pattern of deceit and manipulation, using his role as a pastor to mask his violent tendencies. He was sentenced to life in prison for the murders, shocking the communities he once led. Eugene Cahey, a Texas pastor, shocked his community in 2019 when he tragically murdered his family before taking his own life in a horrific murder-suicide. Cahey, once a respected figure and pastor at Mount Zion Church, set his home on fire, killing his wife, Deanna, and 2 of their daughters, Cameron and Darren. Investigators later determined that Cahey had intentionally started the fire and fatally shot his wife before the blaze consumed their home. In the days leading up to the murders, Cahey exhibited signs of distress, facing financial and personal issues that appeared to unravel his life. The pastor's dark descent into violence and destruction stunned his congregation and community, who had known him as a spiritual leader. His actions revealed the hidden turmoil beneath his outwardly pious facade, leaving behind a devastating legacy of loss and unanswered questions about how such evil could emerge from a man of faith. Matt Baker, once a Baptist pastor from Texas, shocked the nation when he was convicted of murdering his wife, Carrie Baker, in 2006. Initially, her death was ruled a suicide, as Matt claimed Carrie had been depressed after the death of their daughter, Cassidy. However, Carrie's family, especially her mother, refused to believe the narrative, suspecting foul play from the start. Their persistence led to an investigation that revealed disturbing evidence. It was discovered that Matt had drugged Carrie before suffocating her and staged the scene to look like a suicide. Motive for the crime included Matt's extramarital affairs and his desire for a life free of family responsibilities. In 2009, Matt Baker was convicted of murder and sentenced to 65 years in prison. His case stands as a chilling reminder of how someone entrusted with spiritual leadership can hide dark, sinister motives behind a mask of faith. Nick Hacheney, a former pastor from Washington State, was convicted of the brutal murder of his wife, Dawn Hacheney, in 1997. Initially, Dawn's death was believed to be accidental, caused by a house fire while she was sleeping. However, 5 years later, a shocking truth emerged. Nick had drugged and suffocated Dawn before setting their home on fire to cover up the crime. Motivated by his extramarital affairs, particularly with several women in his congregation, Hacheney used his position of spiritual authority to manipulate and control those around him, even claiming that God had told him it was Dawn's time to die. His manipulation and false piety kept suspicions at bay for years until a deeper investigation revealed his true role in the crime. In 2002, Hacheney was convicted of first-degree murder, and his case exposed the depths of hypocrisy and evil that can hide behind the guise of religious leadership.